So I go down and make the coffee mixture with Irish cream in it. Some standard 7 pills. And drug him. Half hour later he falls asleep and I strangle him there in bed. You know, I mean, people can say, well, it was family pressures or it was outside forces or it was mental disease, but the fact is that I'm the one that did it. Not just once, but time after time. Very self-destructive life. It just didn't seem like my parents really liked each other too much. Arguments, fighting, it just made me feel on edge, unsure of the solidity of the family. I know she was in a hospital for about a month. A mental, ward. And Dad was busy working. I decided early I wasn't ever going to get married, because I wouldn't want to go through anything like that. Maybe I started shutting down to save myself the pain of what was going on. It was effective. It worked. Ever since then, I've never been a real emotional person. So nothing's really been normal ever since then. Taints your whole life. I didn't think it would, but it does. It taints your whole life. And I thought that I'd just try to live as normally as possible and just bury it, the memory of it and everything. But things like that don't stay buried forever. But like a festering sore, it doesn't get better. It just gets worse until finally it ruptures. And it just filled my thoughts all day long. Doesn't provide any lasting satisfaction or enjoyment or fulfillment. For some reason, I just kept doing it. I mean, I knew my job was in jeopardy. All I would have had to do was just stop for several months at a time and space it out but it didn't happen that way. I just was driven to do it more frequently and more frequently. Couldn't control it anymore. I was walking around Southridge and saw this mannequin that sort of caught my eye. I wanted that mannequin, so I was in the store. There's nobody in there. Stayed there until closing time.
And no alarms went off?
No, nothing. I got the mannequin undressed, got a taxi back home, and stored it in the closet at Grandma's house. And I used to play around with that, dressing it up and undressing it, pretending it was real. At least had a job that paid halfway decent. I could look forward to free time, privacy. I started drinking again, going to the bookstores, found out where the gay bars were, started going to them. What I was looking for was some live companionship, someone to spend the night with and have complete control over, and to be able to do with as I please. Something real instead of fake like the mannequin. So that was my fantasy. Little by little, I started falling away. I just gave up trying to resist.
So you kept the genitals and you kept the head. But did you still feel as though you had your companion?
It's all so bizarre sounding now to me.
Do you think you loved Tony?
Yeah, I could say that if I knew how to love, I would have loved him. It was just a matter of trying to preserve what I had left.
What were you hoping for?
Hoped you would just dry out and stay looking like you did in life, but it didn't work out that way. Because by that time it was fairly obvious that it didn't look like Tony anymore. It was just all shriveled up.
Okay. But did it still excite you?
No, not as much. The excitement was wearing off. I'm not even sure whether I was capable of a real sense of love even back then. Not even sure if I am now.
You don't know that you know how to love? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not sure I do. No. The person who can love, I don't think, would do these things. Mom was comforting when she, could be. She was sick a lot during that time. I should have found decent interests to spend my energy on. If I had done that, I wouldn't be here today. I'd be living pretty decently. But that night in Ohio, that's when everything went down the tubes, really. That one impulsive night. So nothing's really been normal ever since then. I sort of wrapped myself up in a fantasy world during the latter part of elementary school days. Never was interested in what seems to me the 99% of the population of the world is, and leading a family life, That started everything again. I was just interested in laying with people for the night up to that point. Something broke through, and I started the long slide down. It was an incessant, never-ending desire to have someone at whatever cost. It's amazing to me in 31 years, 31 short years, how I could create such hell for myself and everyone around me. Because I did it. It's my doing, my little horrid creation.